Hello friends, welcome to Walter Limited. I'm James. I hear a question pretty often that I really wanted to look into in depth. Are Dreamzzz figures really better than Star Wars? Now we hear often from different Lego Star Wars fans that, Dreamzzz gets all of these leg prints and they get dual molded legs and they get new hair molds and they get cloth and all these things. Is it really that much better? I don't know. I can definitely say sometimes it feels that way, but I wanted to dig into the numbers and see if Dreamzzz is really getting that much better of treatment than Star Wars. And one thing that people will often say in response is, well, Dreamzzz doesn't have to pay the IP tax. A bunch of the money that is paid for Star Wars goes back to Disney, and that's a cost to the Lego group. They've said before in different fora, they spread that cost across all of their sets. Be that true or not, doesn't really matter. Star Wars costs the company more to produce because of paying for licensing for the IP. Okay, great. But let's take a closer look at Dreamzzz and Star Wars minifigs and see if Dreamzzz is really getting that much better treatment, or is this a case when people say perception is reality, but it isn't really? Remember to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you think of this topic. So the next time you think, man, I wish Star Wars would get the Dreamzzz treatment, do you really want it? I'm going to compare 2023 Dreamzzz minifigures to 2023 Star Wars minifigures, because we don't have the full set for 2024 and Dreamzzz didn't have any previous years. So 2023 is really the only set of figures that we can take a realistic look at. By the numbers, Dreamzzz has 34 unique figures in 2023 with 17 unique characters. In 2023, Dreamzzz got no arm printing. Not a single bit of it. 0 arm printing. They got 12 minifigs out of the 34 that had leg printing, and they had 7 unique leg prints. They had 2 sets of dual molded legs across the range. They got 16 printed torsos. 16 characters had printed torsos. There were 13 unique torso prints. So 3 got reused. They had 3 cloth pieces, and each of them was unique on the figure that it was used on. They had 18 face prints, and they had 12 unique molds across the line for the minifigures. Not talking about accessories, not talking about new parts. They had 12 new molds that were done, I believe, for minifigures. I could be off a little bit on some of these numbers. My knowledge isn't encyclopedic, but as far as I could tell, 12 unique molds. So that's a total of 58 unique prints or parts for the minifigures. In comparison, Star Wars had 69 unique figures and 54 unique characters. Star Wars, unlike Dreamzzz with 0, had 9 arm prints, 8 of which were unique. And I'm doing that as sets. Both arms count as one set of arm prints. As far as leg prints, 45 of the 69 figures had leg printing. There were 35 unique leg prints. Like Dreamzzz, Star Wars got 2 sets of dual molded legs. 64 of the 69 figures had torso printing, with 54 of those being unique. They had 6 cloth pieces, 5 of which were unique. There were 51 face prints, and 13 molds that were new for the minifigures. And I didn't include in that Mandalorian helmets. I didn't include in that clone helmets. All of those I took into account. These are other helmets or hair pieces or head pieces that aren't accounted for commonly by other things. Like the Endor helmets for Luke and Leia. There have been Endor helmets before, but it's been years, so I counted those as different. So for Star Wars, that means there were there were a total of 219 unique prints or parts. 219 to 58. I don't know, but looking at the numbers, that seems like Star Wars is getting pretty great treatment to me. Now, what's even more telling is I didn't want to just look at raw numbers. I also wanted to look at the ratios, because if Star Wars has twice as many figures, did they get twice as many sets or twice as many prints? That would make sense, right? So I broke down all the different print ratios. 34 to 69, 2 to 1. So Star Wars got 2 figures, unique figures, for every 1 Dreamzzz figure. So double. Unique characters is actually 3 to 1, 54 to 17. Arm printing, you can't actually make that ratio because it's dividing by 0. It's 9 to 0 or 8 to 0. For leg prints, again, it worked out much in Star Wars' favor. 3.8 to 1 for total leg print, and 5 to 1, 35 to 7 for unique leg prints. It's 1 to 1 for dual molded legs, so that one, Dreamzzz wins that category, I guess, because they got 1 to 1. Torso prints, 4 to 1, 64 to 16, in favor of Star Wars for number of figures that had a torso print. And unique torso prints actually is even more in Star Wars' favor at 54 to 13. Cloth is right on where it should be, 6 to 3, 2 to 1 with the number of figures. That works out. So as far as cloth pieces go, the two ranges, the ratio is right on. Face prints, 51 to 18. That works out at 2.8 to 1. Again, in Star Wars' favor. And new molds, 1.1 to 1. 13 to 12. But Star Wars as a line has existed continuously for 25 years. This is Dream's first year, so of course there's going to be a lot of unique prints because you're making a new line. So that ratio works out 219 to 58, or 3.8 to 1 in Star Wars' favor for unique prints and parts. And that's with a 2 to 1 minifigure ratio. And I'm not even taking into account the number of overall minifigures total. I'm talking about the number of different minifigures that exist. And all things aren't created equal there. When you start looking closer, the disparity becomes even wider, actually. Dreamzzz has 5 characters that got unique figures, multiple unique figures. 4 of those multiple unique figures, Izzy, Mateo, Zoe, and Miss Castillo, were only different in the accessories that were added onto the minifigure. Mrs. Castillo, her backpack changes. Buff Grandma, the parts that were used on her backpack change. Not a unique print, not anything different there. You get different 1x1s or 1x2s to stick on her backpack. Cooper is the only one with multiple figures that gets a totally different figure for one of them. 2 of the figures are exactly the same other than the accessories. Now compare that to Star Wars, and there are 8 characters that get different figures, they get multiple figures. Only 2 of them, Vader and the 332nd clone, are differentiated only by their accessories. Every single other character that gets multiple renditions gets at least 2 totally different figures. Like I'll throw up Luke here as an example. 4 different Lukes, 4 totally different Lukes. There's not reuse across them. We'll use Izzy as an example because it gets pointed out all the time by Star Wars fans. Why can't Star Wars do commas or camas, however you prefer to say it? Izzy has a kama, has a skirt, has a dress, whatever. So let's look at Izzy. 3 different versions of Izzy. It's all exactly the same. One is plain. One gets the shoulder armor. And one gets the shoulder armor and the kama. Or waist cape. Or long robe. Or whatever it happens to be. 3 figures exactly the same. You add one accessory or you add two accessories to get the two variants. And you'll notice I only compared the minifigures here. I kind of left the droids and the Dreamlings to the side because this disparity is pretty stark. The Star Wars line has 6 different droids. And really that was being incredibly generous because I counted 2 Gonk droids that are totally different as one. And I counted 3 astromech droids, which are completely different, both print and color of the body and legs wise, as one. So realistically, it's more like 9. On the other hand, for the Dreamzzz side, there are 7 different Dreamling variants. And when I say different Dreamling variants, I mean, you might be like, well, no, there's like a whole bunch of different Dreamlings. There's the Mushroom and the Chef and the Blacksmith for the good guys, right? Okay, yeah, that's true. But the parts there, first of all, there's only 2 parts to make up a Dreamling, right? The body and the head. For those, 5 of the evil Dreamlings are exactly the same body and head. 2 of them have a different torso or face print. So those 5 that are exactly the same, the only thing that's making them different is a helmet or a hat or a hair or something like that. Speaking for the good Dreamlings, there are 4 that are like that. 4 Dreamlings that are exactly the same body and head, and you just put a beard or a hat or hair or whatever on them. And then the ones that are different, you know what prints they got? Albert actually has totally separate face and body prints. He's the little monkey in the spacesuit. His is totally separate. So that one's great. Logan has a different face print. That's all. The body is just the body in a different color. And then Z-Blob got a pair of eyes. That's it. A pair of eyes printed on a head and printed on a 1x1 piece. Those are all the prints for Z-Blob for his 2 different versions in 2023. So, looking at it in fairness, really, the droids get way better treatment, especially now that a lot of the R2 units are getting front and back printing. Really, they come out way ahead. The Dreamlings are awesome, great. I think they're a lot of fun. But let's be honest, the droids get way better treatment than the Dreamlings. Finally, I think the thing that really displays it is, let's set aside the repeats. So then we're talking about totally unique figures, right? These ones are totally unique. There's not another copy of them, whatever. And I'm not even going to bother to count up. I'll do a little quick math. 54 minus 8 that have repeat characters. That's 46 unique one-off characters, many of which have a unique mold and or print for their production, compared to 5 for Dreamzzz. 46 unique figures versus 5 unique figures. I mean, that really tells the story there. So, now that we've looked at it a little bit, you might say, well, how did Star Wars do in its first year? That would have been totally different, right? I didn't bother to go through and count up the prints because honestly, the number of prints in 1999 compared to today is drastically different, so I don't think that's a fair comparison. But I can tell you, when they first started out in 1999, Lego got 27 out of 172 for 16% of all figures when we exclude Duplo, Belleville, and Technic that year and just do minifigures. Star Wars got 27 out of 145, 18%, or almost 1/5 of the characters produced in 1999 were Star Wars characters. In 2023, Dreamzzz got 34 unique minifigures out of the 1,051 produced by Lego in 2023. Now, if we remove Duplo, there was no Belleville, there was no Technic this year for 2023. That makes 34 out of 917. So 3% of the grand total with Duplo, or 4% of the grand total when we exclude Duplo. Yeah, Lego makes a lot more sets now, but Star Wars is still getting the lion's share. 2023, Star Wars got 7% and 8% of all the figures, all the unique figures. 7% and 8%. 69 out of 917 versus 34 out of 917 for Dreamzzz. So taking all that into consideration, what do you think? Is Dreamzzz really getting better treatment? And do you want Star Wars to get the Dreamzzz treatment in the minifig department? Star Wars has and will continue to get better treatment than Dreamzzz. Let me know what you think. Do you want Star Wars to get the Dreamzzz treatment? Thanks for watching. Have a good one.